First off, thank you very much for inviting Wild Marlow to participate in this evening's session. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Verity West. I have lived in Marlow since I was a toddler. I love Marlow. I also love wildlife. So I started up the group Wild Marlow in August last year, as I felt the people of Marlow were really missing out on so much wildlife that was here already, and the potential to do even better for wildlife in the community. So Wild Marlow is a community interest company. It's run by volunteers. We have charitable objectives and we rely on memberships at a bargain of £10 per year and donations for funding. This is the brilliant team that makes up the steering group for Wild Marlow. So a really hard-working group with a passion for wildlife. We've got a broad range of skills and a very diverse specialist interest in specific wildlife. So we've got BBOUT staff and volunteers. BBOUT is, of course, the local wildlife trust. We have an ecologist, we have butterfly conservation volunteers, and we have RSPB volunteers in the group. Our objective is the promotion of conservation, protection, and improvement of the biodiversity and physical environment, specifically for wildlife in and around Marlow. And our aim is to encourage the local community, including residents, local organisations, landowners and decision makers, to raise awareness of the importance of a balanced ecosystem, biodiversity, and to champion Marlow's wildlife. Now, we have chosen 12 species that, as an organisation, we are championing at the moment. So there you can see the 12 that we've chosen. And who is our audience? Well, we have quite a good social media presence at the moment, predominantly through Facebook, but also a little bit via Twitter and Instagram. We've got a fantastic interactive public group on Facebook. So if you haven't already joined, do. It's really interesting to share information, ideas, advice, ideating certain things. We also write newsletters and blogs for our website, so there's always new information going out, lots of advice, keeping people up to date on what we're doing as a group. Some of the blogs are fascinating. We've had some about bumblebees and migrating butterflies, and of course it's Swift Awareness Week this week, so there's a great one on there by one of our Swift experts. We've had a few interviews on Marlow FM. We appear in lots of local publications such as the Marlovian, where we had a fantastic spread in spring. And you may have seen this week we were actually on BBC London News, which was very exciting, talking about the red kites, quite a controversial subject. But we quite early on, we had our MP Joy Morrissey, that you can see on the bottom there, signed up to become a member and actually name dropped us in Parliament. So that was quite exciting as well. So what do we do? Initially, we started off with doing some guided walks. This is an example of the guided walk we did around Spade Oak Nature Reserve, a winter birding walk on New Year's Day. We got up bright and early, along with some RSPB volunteers. It was a fantastic event. We had lots of others planned, for example, wild orchid hunt, nighttime safari, swift screaming parties, but sadly the COVID epidemic or pandemic rather, has put a stop to that, so we've had to put things on hold for now. At the beginning of the year, we also held a family bird box building workshop, where members of the public, all ages, could come along, purchase a bird box, build it and take it home to put in their gardens. We did that event with one of the local guide groups as well, which was great fun, despite me being a bit reticent with small children with hammers and nails, but it was all okay in the end, no injuries. Another one of the projects that we've done is to distribute 2,500 packets of native wildflower seed throughout Marlow. So they went to all the primary school children, plus some nursery schools, and we hope that the butterflies and bees are currently enjoying the fruits of our labour, stuffing all those envelopes. We like to engage with the local schools as well, so been to do an assembly at one of them. We've also been offering advice for some of the schools to have wildlife areas within their school grounds. And we were due to attend the Eco Schools Conference at Great Marlow School recently, which again, sadly, due to the pandemic, got postponed. We like to support the other groups that are doing fantastic things within the area as well. So we had a Wild Marlow representative from Transition Town Marlow, help Transition Town Marlow and really do some orchard planting at Seymour Park. We also helped the Henley Toad Patrol to construct the toad barrier and manually move the toads to prevent them being squashed on the Henley Road. We had some corporate volunteering activities with the Globe Park businesses, and here you can see Chief Womble Emma doing a little pick from the Marlow Wombles with soft cats, and we also sometimes help out at the Marlow market stall, and here we donated some seeds for their seed swapping event. So some of the other events that we've been doing, obviously the Bird Box workshop before, we ran an evening all about how to help our feathered friends. So we had experts from the Bism Barn Owl group, the Bism Nest Box group, and Maidenhead, Marlow and Cookham Swift group give really interesting talks about what we can do to help those species more. We had planned a fundraising pub quiz, a moths versus butterflies evening event, a moth trapping and bat event, and also fantastic evening to launch our Wild Marlow Gardens campaign, but sadly they all got put on hold, but we're hoping to line them up again next year. Something else we've done that you may have seen is the 30 Wild Marlow Days. That was an initiative on Facebook that Marlow Life, which is a group that has an audience of over 7,000 members, allowed us to do a post a day for the whole of April, and which meant that we could increase our audience, but we gave lots of weird and wonderful facts about wildlife that can be seen around Marlow. So it went down really well. It was really popular, and as a result, Marlow Life have asked us to continue with weekly posts, which is really interesting. So despite the pandemic, there are still some things that people can do right now to get involved. We've got a fun photo competition running at the moment, which is open to all ages and abilities except professionals. It's free to enter. There is a prize fund, and at the end of the competition we'll be putting the 12 best photos into a 2021 calendar, so look out for these just before Christmas. They'll make a great stocking filler. And we also have a Wild Marlow Gardens campaign running at the moment. The whole idea of that was to encourage people to welcome wildlife into their garden by not just putting up bird feeders and a bird bath and maybe a bird box, but also thinking about banning pesticides and not using slug pellets, using peat-free compost, looking at gardens on a whole and how it can help wildlife and increase the biodiversity. So why is Marlow such a fantastic place? Well, this is where I could talk all night and Dave would have to cut me off, but I'll just give you a few examples. This is the Spade Oak Nature Reserve, which is really quite a special site that a lot of people don't realise its significance. If you look on the Bucks Bird Club website, you'll see a lot of the amazing sightings that they have are from this place, and it's pretty rare that you'll be able to walk around that place and not see a birder that's seen something exciting. So one of the highlights for this year was a red-necked phalarope, which was the rarest spot that they've had this year, and it was only the 8th that was recorded in the country, so that got everyone very excited. But we've also had little ringed plover breeding successfully, a rare passing migrant, the wood sandpiper, was seen there. Quite spectacularly, we saw an osprey fly over at the very beginning of June, and of course this year we've had common terns and kingfishers breeding, and it's quite common to see oyster catchers, dunlin and green sandpipers there. So it really is quite a special site. Some other random sites that we've had quite recently, one that got everybody excited and quite baffled was a white stork was seen in the Little Marlow area. So we have no idea what he was doing there. We suspect he may have come from the Knepp estate and was having a bit of an explore. We hope he found his way home. We don't expect to see those very often because they're not currently spread throughout the UK, but hopefully it will be a sign of things to come. And also the exciting news is that there's a peregrine falcon pair on the All Saints Marlow Church. On the spire, that's a new territory for them this year, so we're hoping over the next few years we'll be able to set up a camera monitoring system and see them successfully breed. Another really special site that we have in Marlow is Homefield Wood, which is has been designated as a triple SI, which means it's a site of a site of special scientific interest. And it's home to the very rare military orchid. Now you'll see in our logo, that is the military orchid that we've decided to adopt. There are only 3 sites throughout the UK that have the military orchid, so that's really quite special to have that in Marlow, as well as there are lots of other orchids there to see as well. It's just gone past orchid season, but next year, put it in your diaries. It's a fantastic place to visit. And it's also home to some really cool butterflies as well, such as silver wash fritillaries and birds such as cuckoos and blackcaps. So our vision for going forward is to make wildlife a priority in Marlow. We have lots of projects lined up. We have lots of things we want to do, people we want to get involved with. I won't read through all this, but working with other local environmental groups is very high on our list. So I'd like to thank you. I hope you've enjoyed the presentation. Please do support us as your groups and also as individuals. You can join us on Facebook, enter the photo competition, enter your gardens for the Wild Marlow Garden campaign, and you'll get a certificate. And yes, hope you enjoy. Thank you.